Yo, what's up everyone, and welcome back to Boxmining. So yesterday we had this huge move on the Ethereum front with almost a 9% pump over a now 1 hour period. Today we're going to talk not just about Ethereum, but also about Bitcoin as well, because it approaches a really critical point, $6,000. This is where a lot of resistance is. I'll talk about what it takes to break that resistance, and also my expectations, like how long would it take to break past 6,000 as well. I want to do a little catch up on the news as well. We just read that there was a major Tron bug that was disclosed that could have potentially brought down or stalled the entire network. Followed by that, we have talk about, this long-term institutionals are coming, but it seems to have more weight this time. I'll also talk about something funny I found, which is the most stupid looking pump and dump on one of the current initial exchange offerings on gate.io. And then finally, we're going to catch up on what's happening with China with regards to the whole USDT situation. Right now, there's like a lot of excitement for the Bitfinex IEO, and I'll tell you why that is and what that means for the future of cryptocurrencies as well. So guys, if you guys are watching this for the first time, I got timestamps on the bottom so you can skip to the relevant section that you're interested in. And make sure you stay till the end because we have a special giveaway for ERC 1155 tokens. You'll get them absolutely free. I'll give you all the details at the end of the video. And as always, everything covered here is my personal opinion, not financial advice. Let's get straight into it. So let's start off with the markets first of all. So we're actually getting quite a lot of green being flashed on the markets, especially when it comes to Ethereum. Just look at that big arrow here. It's probably a little bit more obvious on TradingView. So if you look at TradingView, we were actually down to $158, and we have two kind of successive pumps all the way up to now $177 for the price of Ethereum. In terms of what could have affected this, I searched the news. There is this report on Ether transaction volumes on dApps. They're registering all-time highs. So there's actually users on dApps, believe it or not, and people actually using it for transacting almost $132 million. So is this report enough to send prices of Ethereum going up? I don't think this is the only reason, especially if you look at the top ranking dApps as well, say My Crypto Heroes or Play to Win. You only have something like 2K or even 1K daily active 24-hour users, which is still kind of far from the millions of people that could be running dApps. So what I think is more like institutionals or large buyers coming in, if you look at the trade volumes, these spikes that occur at this time, it's kind of does tell the tale of large buy orders coming in. And that's most likely the reason, just one or two large whales creating a little bit of FOMO for the whole market. Now on a Bitcoin front, it's very interesting as well because we're approaching 6,000 guys. So it's kind of like a little bit funny to look at our current price because on some markets, of course, we did pass 6,000, but a lot of people still regard the Coinbase to US dollar as kind of the true Bitcoin to US dollar price. The reason being, of course, is because it's not affected by USDT or any of the USDT premiums. And something that we're approaching is 6,000. And if you just look at this chart here, Magic Poop Cannon, he's drawing so many of these walls up near the 6,000 region. It is a huge importance. This resistance is the mother of all resistances. Now, what would it take for Bitcoin to break 6,000 is definitely a lot of movement. So something that I was discussing with Charles in the past video is one of the theories that a lot of Chinese miners are building up for a summer push for the price of cryptocurrency. So it's kind of a rumor, but there is substance to that too. So miners are stacking new electricity contracts. So they buy electricity for cheap from the government. And usually because it's the summer, what happens is that they have access to even cheaper electricity. So by locking in those cheap prices, they want to mine more Bitcoin and have more substantial gains. Another big push could come from institutional investors as well. So last week we saw Fidelity, they're a $1 trillion fund. They're talking about 22% of their clients having owned cryptocurrency. They want to offer it to more. So what they're talking about is they want to continue to roll out services over the coming weeks and months based on institutional needs, offering Bitcoin. So more and more institutions that hold a lot of money potentially buying into Bitcoin. But unfortunately, of course, as with all these institutional news, so to speak, they don't give a confirmed time frame of when and what will happen and exact quantity. What we do also see was Greyscale. They launched a media campaign called Drop Gold. You probably saw this commercial, which is people dumping their gold for digital gold, which is Bitcoin. And I think this is kind of cool for just general public to understand that this is a way to store value and transfer value across borders. And also with the CFTC, they say they're going to let Ether contracts go to market after soliciting market feedback. So there's a lot of rumors of this kind of old school, traditional kind of dinosaur type economics coming into the space. Obviously, it's going to take some time, and that's why I don't think the effect on breaking that Bitcoin $6,000 mark is going to be immediate. But what we'll probably see is we're going to try to kind of hit this $6,000 wall many, many times throughout this year. And it might be the case that we get a few rejections first. In fact, a lot of my trader friends are eyeing this situation for a short of Bitcoin just prior to hitting that $6,000 mark. They're anticipating a slight rejection and then another attempt forward. Something that I realize when I'm talking to traders, especially when they're placing shorts on Bitcoin or whatnot, they might not believe that Bitcoin in the long run is going to drop, but rather they might feel that just it might take a few tries to go past 6,000. So they're kind of betting on the fact that it doesn't pass 6,000 on first go, waiting for that pullback and then capitalizing on that initial pull. And I have an interview with one of the top traders in this space, Jimmy. He made a 3x in the last year, but he has some really good market insights, and that's coming up on his channel very soon as well. And by the way, guys, do you guys like this new camera angle? I've been trying out new things as well, and this is just one camera matting. It's like right here. Like it's all online at the same time, and it's kind of hella fun to play around with. And also check this out as well. This is the funniest IEO attempt at pump and dump that I've ever seen. So there's this new IEO being launched at Gate.io. It's one of the smaller exchanges. So this is why this market making practice is so obvious. Just look at this chart. So when the coin first launched, the prices are going up, and they're going up at such a consistent rate, like bloop, 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 bloop. And it's very clear that market maker or whatever they're employing on the exchange, they're trying to make this upward trend to get more people interested in movie block. But unfortunately, some fund or something that didn't manage, they just dumped the hell of it. And look, it just fell by like half over the space of like 6 minutes or whatnot. It's like the worst time to go to the toilet at this time, but boom. Some people are saying like stuff like this makes our whole space look really, really bad and shady. And I definitely bet there is a lot of shady stuff going on in the space, and we definitely need to clean up over time. Next up, we got Tron. They disclosed a critical vulnerability that could have crashed its blockchain. So one of these vulnerabilities, what happens is that if a single machine even could send out messages to other nodes, it could have potentially crashed them. And up to 51% of the nodes could have just fallen and become unavailable. Now, it's interesting to see these disclosures happen. It's just a good practice in the space. What was also kind of alarming was that the cybersecurity researcher who discovered this vulnerability, he was only given $1,500. That's like next to no money. I mean, technically, if you wanted to make a lot of money, he could have just shorted Tron and then went and crashed it and caused a lot of FUD. I definitely feel like these should have deserved at least 100K or 50K to disclose this bug. But anyways, that's Tron for you, and that's how it works. Last, let's take a look at the Tether situation. So the whole accusation by the New York Attorney General against Bitfinex/Tether, that caused a lot of instability in the market last week. But that's pretty much subsided by now. USDT prices are trading as close to 1 USD as possible on Kraken. So how do we make sense of all this? I did a lot of research into the Chinese space, and especially after talking with Charles, we were talking and discussing about the fact that the Chinese hold a lot of USDT, mostly because that's your only way to enter the cryptocurrency market. And what they're doing in China is drumming up a lot of hype for not just USDT and trying to persuade people to keep it, but also to persuade people to go on to the Bitfinex IEO. The Bitfinex IEO, they're trying to raise $1 billion. And how did they come up with that number? Most likely it's because $850 million of their funds are locked or kind of lost, as according to the New York Attorney General. So they want to raise enough to at least cover that and have a little bit of finances left over. Now, looking at the positive news in China, you can kind of guess that they have a lot of PR there just to make sure that Chinese holders of USDT are happy. And the reason why Chinese are holding this, and this is actually the white paper in Chinese for the new LEO token by Bitfinex, by the way. The reason why the Chinese are holding on to it is because there's actually fewer and fewer ways to actually have access to the US dollar in China. This is why they have really no choice. I mean, right now, if you just think about it logically, there's no reason to hold on to USDT. I mean, at max, it can go up to is 1-to-1. And then if worst case scenario, the flip side is like it can go to 0 if there's any big problems with it. So at the end of the day, it's only really the Chinese who actually really need this, and they're the primary hodlers, and that's why you can see a lot of news. This is the news aggregate. To summarize, the Chinese need Tether, and that's why the Tether news is really important and why they want the Tether or Bitfinex IEO to do really well. But in terms of the international world, definitely there's no reason to stay onto Tether. Lastly, the giveaway. So I'm giving away these. These are the Boxmining collectible ERC1155 token. You know what? I'm going to show you guys this here. So this is a limited time token. It's only got 485 now in its existence. It's also worth engine as well. So if you ever don't want it, you can break that down into 50 engine, which is worth around $7. It's not bad. So anyways, if you guys want to win, I'm going to give away 5 of these this week. And to enter, you need to write a comment down below. So down there, and you want to write 2 things. One is, what do you think it's going to take to break the $6,000 resistance for Bitcoin? And also, second, your Ethereum address. So I can actually send it to you if you're a winner. And what we'll do is we'll pick the winner next week. So make sure you just comment down below, and that's pretty much it. And guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel as well. Click that little notification bell. See you in the next one.